Nafas from Sri Lanka Development Journalist Forum, and I'll be talking about the Sri Lanka Forum Theatre program. It's one of the programs we implemented, and this will be used as an alternative form of art to engage youth on rejecting violence and promoting dialogues. But Forum Theatre is also actually a good way to advocate any issue that you want to put out. So I'll be going through the nitty-gritty, the implementation and challenges and things like that. Okay, let me tell you about our organization. We are a community media-based organization. We implement projects along many thematic areas, and coexistence, tolerance, and gender-based justice are one of them. And yeah, we do our projects by using mediums such as radio dramas, forum theatre, storytelling, talk shows, etc. And we believe that community media in Sri Lanka is one of the key ways to address the lack of voices among the rural societies that are not heard very much. So yeah, what I'll be talking about in this presentation is the objective of the paper and the Forum Theatre program, what it is and how the implementation and how it is relevant to peace building, the strategies that we use to engage youth and civil society, and success stories and our reach and challenges. So basically that's it. Okay, the objective of this paper is, hopefully by the end of this you will be able to understand the Forum Theatre and its effectiveness as a tool in transformation and peace building. And this, you should understand that this is in a post-conflict setting. So if you are working with a post-conflict setting, it would be useful for you as well. This was conducted at the beginning of this year, 2014 actually, and it was quite successful. So if you were at an IMCR conference earlier this year in India, you would have seen this presented there as well. So anyway, it was implemented in 20 locations in the Ampara and Batticaloa districts in the eastern province of Sri Lanka. And implementation, so how we started this off was we selected 24 young artists who were enthusiastic about drama and making a change and difference in the community. So since our theme was religious tolerance and interfaith coexistence and things like that, so we made sure the ethnicities were lined up, like the three major ethnicities in Sri Lanka are Sinhalese, Muslims and Tamils. So we made sure that the participants, the young artists that were chosen to carry out this forum theatre, there was an equal number from each ethnicity. And the artists first went through a training workshop that enhanced their skills. This basically, the training workshop taught them about forum theatre and the theory behind it, as well as how to implement it and how to carry out this successfully, as well as enhancing their drama skills. And then they were put through a training of 8 days. During the training, and they created 20 initial forum theatre scripts that reflected the ideas of tolerance and rejected nonviolence. So they created the scripts during the last few days of the forum theatre, as in the youth came from areas where the forum theatre was actually happening, the venues that we had selected for the forum theatre. So we asked them to speak out about the issues that prevailed in those areas, and they did speak out about those issues. And we selected the issues that were prevalent among most of the communities, and we created scripts based on those issues. And then the youth went and performed these scripts in public venues. That's basically what happened. How this was performed was the dramas were first acted out with deliberate mistakes. As you know, forum theatre probably happens like this if you are familiar with forum theatre. Yeah? So the dramas were first acted out with deliberate mistakes in them that were against the issues that we were advocating for. So then when they were acted out a second time, the audience were allowed to pause it at the points where the mistakes were happening and correct or reflect on them. And the facilitators at this point also encouraged dialogue, as in they didn't just stop and say this is wrong, they also discussed it. And when somebody says this is wrong, somebody else puts their thoughts on it, and there was a dialogue created there. The audience was also allowed to come up on stage and act out the dramas as it was supposed to be happening. So which made sure they were part of the program as well. Okay, so certain methodologies to be noted was these were points that we thought were important in our foreign theatre that was special about the foreign theatre. The values that we wanted to advocate were not imposed on them. When you look at normal foreign theatres, you would you would kind of see them, you would see the facilitators trying to impose upon the audience the values that they want the values that they actually want to put inside them. But we actually held the foreign theatres and we asked the audience what they thought about it. We did not impose that the values of coexistence on them, but we asked them to realize it, and we got it, we got it out of their mouths, other than us telling them that it should be this way and such. And the youth were from the areas that the dramas were performed. Yeah, this is very important because since the youth were from these areas, they knew what issues we were talking about. They knew the ground level issues that were going on in this area. So the youth are the ones who created the script, which was edited and reviewed by the trainers during the training. And since they were from the areas, they could cater each script to the area. So say in Batiklo, if we are performing it in one village, then the audience can actually relate to it because the issue is in their community. Strategies used to engage youth. So this is how we engaged youth, used youth in the professional training was provided to the young artists, facilitating their roles as active change makers. So this wouldn't just stop here, since we chose 24 artists who were active and who were enthusiastic about this. This wouldn't just stop here. It would be like we'd start a ripple, and we had started a ripple, and they would, after this program was over, they would carry out forum theatres of their own and start out clubs of their own, which you will see in the success stories. And second is the youth were made to identify issues in their specific areas. When the facilitator of their training made them identify issues in their specific area. Okay, how is this relevant to peace building? Okay, the problem is that in Sri Lanka, we've been having a civil war which just ended about 5 years ago. So it was a long period of civil war, and there were discourse rifts between the Tamil and other ethnic groups because it was armed conflict actually created disturbances in many villages in the rural areas. So they are still trying to recover from that. And there is also recent tensions caused by certain extremist groups from one ethnic group, and basically the Sinhalese, against some Muslims, and their propaganda was that they propagated to the other Sinhalese, this group. Let's just say that recent tensions caused by attacks from a certain extremist Sinhalese group against the Muslims. Their propaganda caused the Sinhalese to look at the Muslims suspiciously, while causing the Muslims to look at the Sinhalese because there were riots from this Sinhalese extremist group to the Muslims. So basically you get the idea that there is a lot of conflict in this area. So the foreign theatre program actually revolved around the themes of tolerance, religious and ethnic acceptance and coexistence. So when they were looking at each other with hostility, we brought the program into this setting so they could come together. A drama club was formed in the border village of Batiklo, and because of foreign theatre and the participants, there were many drama clubs actually formed in these rural areas. The participants and members of the audience who were inspired formed clubs of their own. So these are two. Another one here. This actually has about 200 members, right? And they intend to perform more foreign theatres. Two participating youth. This is interesting because two participating youth in a Tamil village, which adjoins a Muslim village, and this Tamil village is next to a Muslim village, and there is hostility between these two villages. So two participating youth from the Tamil village actually started the club, and they are in the process of performing foreign theatre to promote harmony between these two hostile villages. These were actually taken during the time that we wrote the report, so hopefully they have implemented these foreign theatres. And how far did we go with this program? There were 20 dramas, 20 villages, and the audience was 8,000. 24 youth were used for training and implementing the project along the way, and 15 online articles and in print, TV show. So you can see that this project did actually reach a lot of people if implemented. Challenges that we came through, as all projects do, these are just 3 of the challenges. Underestimating the number of days for training workshop. Initially, we had planned 2 days of training workshop, but then when we went there, we understood that there was a lot to be spoken about. So since we had another project running in the area, we extended this to 8 days, so we could train them on the issues as well as practicals. And need for village level coordinators, because we were mainly interacting with the rural heads of the villages with through letters and telephone. We realized later that this was not good enough, because some of them didn't understand it properly. So we needed village level coordinators to actually speak to them. Underestimating the number of outreach materials was also another problem, because we thought about 20 posters would be enough for one small village. Okay, this is just in certain villages. And when it turned out that the village was larger than we expected, and 20 was not enough for all of the village people to see it and actually come to the forum theatre. Okay, so if you want to know further about this project, you can find the report at www.sdjf.org, which is actually a very detailed report.
By engaging men for care with children, you are reaching out to men as part of the solution. And the children, when you are taking care of your child, that's where you really learn about love and caring. And an additional thing is to also extend that caring to the environment. Because right now we are having a situation with global warming, and we have to look at this problem from a gender perspective and a power perspective as well, and reach out to the men in a positive way to be part of the solution of that. That's urgent, and we have to do it. Thank you.
Hello, Kermit the Frog here from the United States of America. Very excited to be here at the second International MenEngage Global Symposium.
Yes, Emma loves this conference. Emma wants to be friends with every feminist activist.
We think that the theme of men and boys for gender justice is an excellent thing.
Emma thinks that men should be allies to women in stopping gender violence and promoting gender equality.
Positive deviation from the norm, and we need to start thinking about deviation as being a positive thing, not a negative thing.
I want to say that I came here to this conference to listen and to learn from all the efforts that were taking place around the world to engage men and boys in this work, and I wanted to say that I am leaving with more knowledge and inspired that the efforts that are being made are going to lead to the end of violence against women and to achieve gender equality throughout the world.
MenEngage, I think it's time for all of us to stand up, because women's right is a basic human right. We all need to stand up, only then we'll have equality in the society.